welcome to my YouTube. This is my first video, so please bear with me. I'm trying to calm my nerves. Whew. Okay, get on here and go through this. I'm gonna try not to be all over the place with my timeline. I'm gonna make sure to insert the pictures here, there. Disclaimer, I have been natural all of my life. I've never had a perm or relaxer or nothing like that. But once I get into like my hair journey, you will like see what I mean. Okay, so first things first, I was a baby, you know, I had pretty little black curly hair, and eventually when I hit like 4, I had a big black curly fro. And my mom, she always had my hair like braided, beads, braided halfway to the middle, front in the back. Yeah, my mom always kept my hair braided like half the time, most of the time. And when I was younger, I want to say probably in like 1st grade, I had got my hair like straightened. But mind you, like sis had a lot of hair. Like I couldn't do that sitting there for like 3 hours. Ugh. Sitting there for like 3 hours, getting burned, just being hot, having to get my hair straightened. Like I hated it. And then when I got to school, I always just put it in a ponytail real quick. And I was like, no, sis, like this ain't for me. I'm a little boy out here. We playing tag, sis. We running around. I'm going ham on the playground. Like, I don't got time for her to be on my neck. None of that. In 6th grade, I was going to a school that was like mostly Hispanics. And yeah, mostly Hispanics. And even then in elementary, most of my years in elementary, I went to school with like mostly Hispanics. White people. I went to school like Hispanic, white people, you know, so like they don't gotta sit up to 6 hours getting their hair washed, pressed out, ends cut. They don't gotta do that. They wake up in their hair like that. I can mind you, I had hair. I just in elementary I really didn't like for it to be done. I just didn't. It always took too long for me, so I was always kind of like I'm just gonna put me a ponytail to the back. Like my go-to hairstyle, I like barely ever switch it up. Maybe sis will put a little bang in the front, ponytail in the back, boom. Anyway, yeah, in school, and mostly everybody had straight long hair. Even if it wasn't straight, you know, it was curly and it was all down their back. And people were always just like asking questions about my hair, like, because for me, my mom, I'm kind of stopped doing my hair, especially straightening it, because the process literally took us like all day. Anytime my hair got done, it would take us like hours and hours at a time, and it was just like, okay, whatever. So my mom, she just kept on like having me with like little braid hairstyles, braided into a bun or braided into a mohawk or something like that. Like I always just had braids, and it kind of got frustrating because the kids were always asking me about my hair and not necessarily making fun, but it was kind of like, as a child, I didn't know how to take that, because I always felt like they were kind of like singling me out and like, but why does it look like that? And it's like, it's braids, sis, they're braids. What do you mean? Like, and I would hear that and I would just be like, okay, like it's not cute anymore at this point. So after a while, I started straightening my hair. Ugh, like that was just the worst thing ever. I don't even know why I started doing it, but it was just kind of like, okay, you know, everybody else around me has straight hair, it's down their back, let me just show them mine, because I ain't bald head, I got hair, you know. I was really just kind of trying to prove a point. And I felt like if they liked me, then I was gonna like me even better. And you know, the straight hair was gonna be the life. Like the straight hair was gonna have me set. As time went on throughout middle school, I was like straightening my hair, straightening my hair, straightening my hair. Like I really like barely ever stopped. And you rarely seen my natural hair like in its natural form. I guess you really ever seen curls, because it was always straight. It was always like in a straight ponytail or a bun. But nobody had ever really put me on game that it was gonna damage my hair, because at the time nobody was really like taking care of my hair. It was just kind of like, oh, you on your own now, like, you know. So I ended up getting bangs in like 7th grade, and sis, I wore like this whole front part of my hair out. Like it was just a mess. Like I was straightening my bangs every single day, like it never stopped. Yeah, I was straightening my bangs like every single day. So as time went on, it was kind of like the front of my hair was like brutally damaged. Like it wasn't gonna curl, it wasn't gonna do nothing. Like it was just burnt out, dried out, everything. Fast forward, high school came, and before high school came, I kind of had this thing where when high school was coming around, it was kind of hard for me because I kind of imagine high school like the movies and the TV shows that I've seen. So it was always kind of like, okay, like I have to look good, I have to have this, I have to have that, you know what I'm saying? It was just like I have to have all these things in order for me to attend high school, and if I don't know what I'm gonna do, you know, like I'm just not gonna really be feeling it if I'm not, you know, like living the high school dream, woo woo. So for me, I was just kind of like, what can I do, you know, to like shake things up a little bit, you know, or have me feeling better. And that's where the hair dye comes in. I want to say I was 13 at the time, and I don't know what inspired me to get red hair, but sis, I wanted bright red hair. Like you couldn't tell me nothing. I was gonna get red hair, and I really didn't care what nobody had to say about it. It was kind of just like, oh, you know, like this is cute. And I always was the type of person, like I like color, and I like to, you know, just to be able to express myself through anything. So I was kind of like, oh, like this is my new form of expression. Dyeing like my hair was kind of like, you know, all of that. I'm like, I can just use my hair to express everything at this point, you know, like, because it was kind of like, okay, I can do it with clothes, but it's like your crown, sis, like your hair, you can do anything. Because at the time I had never done anything like that to my hair. Like it was just like, oh, color is the new wave at this point. Boom. So, you know, I ended up taking charge of that. And I want to say my first year of high school, I probably dyed my hair maybe, I want to say maybe just twice. Honestly, I want to say it was red, and then when the red started looking real bad, I ended up dyeing it black. And by this time, it was like, oh, like I love the red so much. And when I put the black in, I was like, what is this? Like I was so used to color. It was like at that point, and then for me to just have color in my hair, I just felt great. Like I can't even explain it now, but just for me to have the color in my hair, I was like, ooh, you know, like I'm popping and I'm unstoppable. So you better keep this thing going. So I just ended up, you know, keeping the dye up, like at this point. And maybe 10th grade, I'm not really sure. Honestly, 10th grade was like kind of whack. I don't really remember like dyeing my hair that much. I want to say for a little bit I was probably just rocking whatever color was in my head, because it probably was a mess at that point, like whatever. So 11th grade came. No, 9th grade, ninth grade, I honestly was kind of like, okay, I want to see, you know, what my hair looks like in a fro. So I remember I ended up one day just like wearing it all out. And sis, when I tell you, I was so hot because my fro was like this big, and it looked a mess. Like it really looked bad because the flat irons and the dye, like it just had tore me up a little bit. So like I had a big fro, but the fro didn't necessarily have curls. It was just a big poof. Like I don't even know what it was. And I see that and I'm like, okay, you know, like maybe I can do something with it. And I want to say I did start doing like little braid outs and little, you know, just to start trying to embrace it a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to keep flat ironing it because it's like it started getting tiring. And I'm like, well, let me just do little braid outs. And in 9th grade I did do some braid outs, but it was kind of like, I love the flat iron, like I love my sock buns with a bang. So I'm like, natural who, natural where, natural what? No sis, we all about this color and this flat iron. We all about this color and this heat and nothing else. So I was just on a roll with that. The summer before 11th grade, I ended up, I want to say, yeah, I ended up bleaching my hair again, and I had this bright orange hair. Like I had this bright orange fro with like these tan glasses. So I just wore some type of orange character out of a movie. I don't really know what it was, but I was just like, okay, because I loved it. Well, I loved it on somebody else. When I seen them with it, I was like, oh, let me take that and try to make it my own. But I actually hated it, and I was like, oh my god, you know, like I don't like it. And so I ended up, I want to say I ended up just like, I wore the orange for like a couple of months, and by the time like November came, I ended up trying to dye my hair black. By this time, sis, I had started getting on the natural wave at this point. Like by the time 10th grade came, or by the time 11th grade came, I was kind of like, okay, like I don't know who I had seen or I had heard something about Bantu knots, and I was like, what that is? Or I seen somebody with it, and I'm like, oh, that's cute, you know? So by this time, I had started getting on YouTube, and when I tell you, Smartista Beauty and Alyssa Forever, like, they saved sis. Like, to this day, I'm like, y'all had the two best Bantu knot tutorials I had ever seen, and when I just seen the results, I'm like, oh, I'm like, this is what's up, and this is where it's at, and it's on and popping at this point. And I'm like, oh, like that's what's up. I'm like, they ain't got a flat iron in it, like they don't gotta do none of that. And I loved how it looked, and I want to say I don't really know what it was, but I was kind of like, okay, you know, like let me embrace my natural hair. Like, what am I doing? But I still was dyeing it. Like, I was doing natural hair routines and everything like that, but I still was dyeing my hair. So by the time 11th grade came, it was kind of just me like, I had started going through a lot of things. Anybody would tell you your junior year of high school is like a movie. Like, you just like, I was living my best life a year ago, and now all of a sudden I'm a junior in high school, and like, life is hell. Life is shit. Like, and I'm just like, what's going on? And it started to get to a point where I didn't really have, like, my self-esteem was low. And honestly, as a child, I always had that issue. So it was kind of like when I got older and like I started going through things, it was hard for me to, like, you know, try to manage life and having high self-esteem and having confidence and just loving myself, you know, because it was hard for me to just be happy with who I was here, because I was tired of looking the same. Like, after a while I would get tired of looking at myself, and I would kind of be like, okay, you know, like, you still look like this, like, let's change it up, sis. You know, like, I was so tired of looking at myself, and that became an issue for me. So when 11th grade came, like I said, I was just going through so many things, and I ended up dyeing my hair black. And when I tried to dye it black, my hair ended up turning green. So I was just like, oh my god, I'm like, what am I gonna do? You know, like, my hair just freaking turned green. I didn't mean for that to happen, but it was just like, I knew I couldn't dye my hair like right after I had already tried to dye it. So I was just like, okay, it's gonna be green and I'm just gonna work it, sis. So my hair ended up being green. I think I ended up doing like a braid out, so my curls is kind of still popping. And I got to school the next day, and people were just like, oh, that's dope, you know, like, we love that. And I liked it too. Like, after a while, I'm just like, it don't look bad. I'm just like, it's just green. Like, I've never had green hair, but okay, like, it's gonna work. So I had the green hair for a while, and mind you, most times I was rinsing my hair. I wasn't necessarily dyeing them. So by this time, I would do some box dyes here and there, but a lot of the times I was just using rinses. So I just ended up putting like indigo in it, or dark blue or black blue, something like that in my hair, and my hair ended up turning like this dark blue shade for a while. And after a while, my hair just turned like green. A couple months later, it was maybe like February, January, or whatever, I started noticing like my hair was just stuck, like, and it was kind of like, if I had been paying attention, my hair was, you know, making its way up, and I'm like, and it made its way up, and then it got to a point where it just didn't move, like, it was just stuck. And I'm just like, what's going on? You know, like, my hair is not growing, and it just started to annoy me, because I'm like, my hair was, you know, I had some hair. So I'm like, what's going on? Like, no, I wasn't bald, but I'm just like, it's not growing. And I was telling people, like, my hair is not growing anymore. And they would be like, oh, girl. And I'm like, I'm going to cut it. Like, no, don't do that. I'm like, no, I have to. Because I started watching more videos on YouTube and everything like that. And I'll be seeing people say, like, in order to, you know, get the ball rolling, you basically got to cut some inches, sis. You know, you got to let the dead hair go because it's dead hair and it's going to work its way up. And I'm like, wow. Like, I started to peep that. And I'm like, that is what started happening. Because I'm like, I haven't been cutting it. I haven't been doing any of that. I'm like, for some reason, my hair is not the length that it should. Like, it's not the length that I feel like it should be or whatever. So, yeah, that day I just watched probably 2 little tutorials, and one of them told me just put your hair in a 2 little ponytails and get the woo to woo. So I did that and I just cut it. I'm like, okay, whatever, woo. Like, I loved it low key. I'm like, you know, I'm feeling this, you know, edgy, short look. I'm out here with it. Ended up cutting my hair, and when I got to school the next day, like, I knew everybody was gonna be on my head, like, girl, why would you got your hair? Woo-woo. So I had a hat on, you know, and somebody ended up snatching my hat off because they like something off, like where the rest of it at. Snatched my hat off, and everybody just looked at me and was like, wow. Yeah. So I loved it short, and I want to say, like, honestly, right after that, like, my hair just got to growing. Like, it did not come to place. It's like, my hair was like, yay, this is what I was waiting on, you know, and you was just playing. I was just waiting to start over, and you was just steady hanging on to me. Ooh. So I was like, hey. But then I ended up cutting it again because I honestly liked it short. I'm like, this is cute. And I'm like, once it's long, it's going to be long. So I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? So I ended up cutting it again. It still grew back. By this time, I ended up getting my first job, Checkers, gang. I'm even though it was like turned up in there, it was a cool little job. And I started seeing on YouTube, they will all be saying like protective styles and like buns and high buns, or just buns and ponytails in general. Those were kind of considered as protective styles. And I literally wore just a big top bun like every day to work, or just like a curly ponytail every day to work. Like, and like right after that, like, my hair started picking up speed. Like, it was just growing, and I had like my hair routines, and I was never going to bed without braiding it, twisting it, oiling it. Like, I was on it. Like, I was on it. You could not tell me nothing. I was just like, you know, I'm feeling myself. And I ended up, I want to say I ended up dyeing it purple. But before when I dyed it purple, it hadn't really grown that much. But it had grown because, like I said, I ended up cutting it again after I cut it the first time. So it was coming down a little bit. I ended up dyeing it purple. After that, I think I want to say school started coming up, and I had braids. I had burgundy hair. I ended up dyeing my hair burgundy. It was burgundy for like months. I just like left it alone. Basically, I was just like, okay, cool. Like, I hated my natural hair at this point. Like, my natural hair color, I was just like, oh, I'm so over it. I'm like, I look like a different person every couple weeks, every couple months. Like, this is where it's at, you know. Like, and I really wasn't taking the time out to appreciate what I already had. And I was beautiful the way that I was, and my hair was nice the way that it was. I was just kind of like living this little fantasy world, and I was just like, the hair color, the dye is the way to go, sis. Like, if this is what keep you feeling good, you better keep it moving, you know, like, keep it going type shit. And after that, my hair had grown, everything like that. I ended up cutting it again after I graduated. Like, I was just kind of like addicted to the short, like, low key, because it was so cute on me. And I'm just like, I know it's gonna come back. Like, I kept on saying that, like, I know it's gonna come back. And mind you, I kept getting raps and stuff. I'm like, you know, I ain't really tripping, woo. By the time I started college, I was like, oh no. I'm like, it's not adding up no more. Once again, for some reason, I'm like, because I'm always just being hard-headed. So I ended up cutting it. I just cut it, you know, and I was just like, it's gonna grow back. Here comes January, 2018? February 2018. I was like, okay. I was just like going through so much, like, and I was really dealing with depression, and I had been dealing with depression for about 2, maybe 3 years beforehand, and I hadn't noticed because I was so like into my looks. I never was like really in touch with my feelings. Like, I was the type of person, I always want to laugh, I always want to play, I always want to joke, and if we're not laughing, playing, and joking, I really don't know what else to do. And that was only because I've never been the type of person to deal with my emotions really. Like, I was always just the sunshine for everybody else, like, and that was all I knew type of thing. So I just was like realizing like I was really just depressed and everything. And I had went through some things where I knew I wasn't okay, but it's like when you're in depression and everything, you really don't know that that's what you're in sometimes, because you're like so out of your body. You're just like, you know, you kind of treat it like a cold a little bit. You like, okay, like with the cold, you probably like, oh, I'm coughing today on Monday, and by Thursday night I should be good, you know. And that's what I kept thinking, like, well, I'm just sad, a little sad, you know, like, or I just feel a little off. But ain't that how it work? I'm like, don't people get sad, or don't people feel upset sometimes? But I didn't notice that it was like almost an everyday feeling, you know, like it started becoming an everyday feeling for me. And I was kind of like, okay, like now I'm really just about to do something drastic. And I was just like so tired of looking at myself. Really, at that point, I'm like, I'm disgusted by you. I'm so tired of looking at you. What have you been doing to yourself? You just haven't been doing the right things. And I'm just like, okay, if I'm tired of looking at myself, what am I going to do about it? I ended up wanting to dye my hair when I started feeling like that. I'm like, I'll just go blonde. I always wanted to go blonde. And I'm like, I'm going to go blonde, whatever. Ended up going to this lady, and she like dyed my hair, and my hair color didn't change, but I had no curls. And I was like, okay, now my hair is flat. I didn't have not one curl. And I was just like, oh my, like I was just going off because I had made my hair be like everything for me. Like, hair was beauty. I didn't really see face. It was hair. Like, your hair is what makes you beautiful, Kaylin. And if you don't have if your hair isn't the way you want it to be, you're ugly, and there's a problem. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like, wow, like she just ruined my hair. Like, oh my God. Like, I had never had that happen, because for a long time I was the only person like really touching my hair, doing anything for my hair. So I was just out, besides me getting wraps, that was like the only time anybody did my hair. So I'm like, oh my God, you know, like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And I was just like, oh well, I'm like, I'm just gonna cut it off. Sis, when I tell you I went all the way, it wasn't a bob. It wasn't to the ears. Sis had a little mini fro. Sis went ham. She went off. So I just ended up doing that, being dumb. And it's kind of like I didn't really notice what I had done until I had to go to school. Like in 2 days I had to go back to school, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I was just like, you really cut your hair? Like, I can't believe you just cut it. Like, I was like in a daze for a minute, and I'm like, you are ugly. Like, that's all I kept thinking. Like, I hated it. Like, the moment I had noticed what I had done, I'm like, you are ugly. Like, you don't have no hair, Kaylin. Like, what you about to do? I'm like, you look crazy. You know, you look a mess. You just toe up from the floor up. You ain't got no hair. Like, without hair, you're nothing. And that's how, you know, I had made hair everything for me. So it's like, you looking rough, bro. You looking real rough, brother. Like, and I was just like, oh, I'm ugly. I look like a man. Like, I was going ham. Like, I was going so off. And I had a couple months after that, maybe like 2 months after I cut it, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm just going to get a little slit in it, you know, make myself be comfortable with it. Like, I really don't know what I was thinking. I honestly cannot even tell you what I was thinking or anything, but I was just kind of like, oh my God, like, this is the worst thing I have ever done. And I really just like messed up my whole entire existence, because I cut my hair off. Like, I really was tripping, like, but nobody really knew how I really felt about it, because it was just like, I've always been the type of person to be able to like mask my feelings in a way and just keep a smile on, like, oh, I ain't got no hair, cheese. I don't want nobody worrying about me type of thing. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have the lady cut a little slit in my hair. And I don't even know what picture I had sent her, but when she was done, it was like, I cannot believe you did this. Like, she had cut this whole side of my head and it was gone. She had shaved it off. It was gone. And I was just looking in the mirror and I'm like, no, like I was so upset, like so upset. She was just like, you don't have to pay me the full price, this. And I'm like, because you know you wrong. You knew that wasn't even cute. Why would you do that? Why? Like, why would you do that? I was so pissed, like, because it was just like my hair is my everything. And I'm like, it's getting ruined at this point and I'm hideous. Like, why is this happening? Like, I was bugging. I was really bugging. I had a feeling I was gonna look a mess. So I brought me a scarf on. I had me a scarf on deck. The moment I walked out the salon, I threw the scarf on and I was like, I didn't even look at it. I looked at it when she did it. After that, I just walked out, went on by my day. Like, I'm gonna act like this didn't happen, you know, like we just gonna keep it moving. We gonna try to make it work. That's when like real bad anxiety started kicking in, and I was just like, okay, I'm like, now everybody sees, like, because my insides are showing on my outsides. Like, you know, it's like, I know I feel bad on the inside, but now I look bad on the outside. I don't have any hair and she shaved it off. I just look so crazy. I look so crazy because I felt that way. And it's just like, I feel like everybody's eyes was on me, because if you knew me, you knew I was the girl who had big bright hair, or I just had hair in general. I always had a fro or bantu knots, a braid out. Like, I always just had like beautiful hair. Like, so it was like, what is people gonna think when they see me? Like, I'm like, they see me, but I don't even feel like me. I don't even look like me. Like, so I was like, I started to develop anxiety, and they just start bouncing off the walls, like really, really, really bad, really bad. And I was just like, okay, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be heard, like, because people are going to talk about me. Like, they're going to laugh at me. Like, and then I ended up dyeing my hair blonde again. And this time it actually came out, and I hated it. I hated everything about me having a short cut like that. Like, I was so out of it. I'm like, who? Like, I had no idea that I was going to lose my mind even more over me not having hair. I knew I loved my hair, but I didn't know that I was making my hair be everything about me, because there was so much to me. I hadn't even paid attention to that. It was just my hair was all I had. My hair was all I had. I had no idea that my hair meant so much and that it was really going to just affect me that way. So by that time, it was just kind of like, okay, you know, you can't do nothing about it. Like, you really can't do nothing about it. So then I'm like, oh, I used to always dye my hair. I'm like, let me just throw some color in there. And it's crazy how I thought if I just put color in there, I was going to be happy. But every time I put color in there, I was so annoyed. I was so irritated. I was just like, this is ugly. I did blonde. I did red. And then eventually the red turned into pink. And I had pink hair. And then I end up dyeing it like blue-green again after that. And it was like, by this time, like, my hair started, my shave size started to come back. So I was like, okay, I'm like, that's doing something. And then it was kind of like, something in me was kind of like, enough with all this color. Something else in me was still like, no, like, you love color. That made you you. Like, what? Like, are you so crazy right now? Like, so I'm like, ugh. I'm like, I can't do brown. I can't do black. I'm like, I'll just do purple. I put purple in it. And when I put purple in it, I ended up going to get a wrap. And because I'm like, mind you, since my hair was like right here, but I'm like, I'm finna go give me a wrap. Like, let me just see what it looked like. I want to say, like, once 2019 came, like beginning of the year, I just started to feel different. And I'm just like, okay, now, you know, I was just like, now you're kind of tripping. You done cut your hair off. You done did all this type of stuff. Kaylin, it's like, okay, like, you need to snap back into reality now. Like, you tripping. You've been bugging for a while now. And it's catching up to you. Like, you need to chill. So I was just like, oh, you know, like, I just started feeling different. But in a way, I started feeling different, but I didn't know that I was going to start feeling better. Like, I just was like, well, I just kind of feel different now. And I really didn't, like, know what the different was. I just felt different. And so by that time, The purple ended up coming out, and I think after that, I did not dye my hair anymore. I didn't dye my hair anymore. Like, I just had, I didn't dye my hair. I haven't dyed my hair since February, I want to say. And I was just like, oh, okay, like, I'm just going to be chilling. And they start, like, fading into, like, this ashy blonde color. And I rocked that for a little bit because I'm like, I don't want to dye my hair, like, no more. And I really started to become comfortable with not having dyed hair. Like, my hair was kind of just, because, like, this is all, like, my natural color, basically. So I was just, like, starting to feel comfortable with not having colored hair. I was just like, I'm okay. Like, I don't really need it. Like, the thought of it is always cute because that was my stuff. But I'm like, I'm kind of okay. Like, I'm good on that. So I ended up, my sister kept saying, just dye it black. Because she's like, you always have color. And my roommate, she's like, just dye it black. Just dye it black. I'm like, I hated black hair. I thought I looked like Michael Jackson, blah, blah. So I just ended up dyeing it black. And then by the time, I always, because it was crazy that at one point I hated my natural hair. You know, I hated the color, the curls, the everything. And then a couple months ago, I was just like, why did you ever hate it? Like, what was wrong with it? What was the problem? Like, and it was honestly because I just had low self-esteem, and there was days where I didn't look in the mirror. I'm talking, there was times where I would go to the bathroom, wash my hands, and I'm not looking in the mirror. Like, I'm looking down, or I don't even turn the lights on. Like, seriously, like, and it was just like, why did you feel that way? And I hated the feeling, so I would just be like, okay, like, I'm tired of looking at Kaylin with green hair. I'm tired of looking at Kaylin with purple hair. I'm tired of looking at Kaylin with orange hair. Like, I started to get tired of looking at myself, and I thought if I kept dyeing my hair, you know, I was going to feel like somebody else, you know, like, have these, like, multiple little personalities going on. And it was just like, you're Kaylin. Like, don't get me wrong, I do have, like, many different versions of myself, but it was like, you're always going to be Kaylin. Like, this is what you're going to look like. And I just embraced my natural self. Hair, everything. It was just like, you're beautiful. Nothing was wrong with you. Like, and I always struggle with confidence, self-esteem, and everything. And now it's just like, I really feel okay. I feel beautiful. I feel just fine. Like, and it's crazy because I haven't seen my natural hair color since I was 13 years old. Like, I'm 20. Sis is 20. And I haven't seen my natural hair color. So it was like I was always running away from the truth, kind of, you know, like my real self. And when I came back to, I'm just like, what was the problem? Why were you not accepting that you have brown hair, Kaylin? Like, or this is who you are. And no matter what you go through, no matter what flaws you have, you're still beautiful. But I didn't want to accept it at the time. And I'm just like, and my thing was, if no matter how low I felt, if somebody else loved me, I felt great. I'm like, well, they like it, they love it, so I'm gonna keep it going. Like, and it was like, I never took the time out to just be like, well, I can love myself any type, any way, any shape, any form, any hair color, any, you know. And I just was never like, I had never had like self-love or anything. But I honestly had to go through that because I was not, for some reason, I did not like myself. I didn't care to like myself. It was just like, just keep dyeing your hair. And when I didn't have hair anymore, it was kind of just like, now what you got? This, your natural self. Look at you, Kaylin. You don't have no choice but to love this and accept this. Like, it ain't going nowhere no matter how many times you dye your hair, straighten it, all that. Like, it's not going nowhere. Yo, this is me. Like, and now I love it. Like, no, I'm good on the color. Like, I love me. And to anybody out there who's struggling with loving themselves, love yourself. Love yourself. Like, because I promise you, ain't nobody gonna love you like you love you. Like, and I have to realize that I have to stop waiting on words of affirmation from other people to be like, oh, okay, I feel a little bit better now. It's like, no, talk to yourself, love yourself, hug yourself, give yourself something, you know, like, be okay with it, because ain't nothing wrong with you. And if you got flaws, you better possess them, take charge, own them, and be like, hey, we're all human. Nobody's perfect. Like, and I think I was obsessed with this idea of perfect that I had, and it was just like I kept trying to get there. And when I wasn't, I was just like, okay, like, just dye your hair again, like, just do something else to it. And when I didn't have none, it was like, what are you doing? Like, you're okay. Like, you just went through years and years of all of this for what? Like, it was for something, because I'm stronger, I'm wiser, I'm just beautiful, and I'm embracing everything about myself. So to anybody out there who just feels like they can't love themselves because of their hair, or they have to change, it's like, no, your natural is beautiful, period. Skin color, natural body, hair color, all of that, like, not needed. Like, natural is the way to go, period. Like, period. Natural is the way to go, period. Sis, like, be your own example. Look at yourself and like, oh, I'm popping. Cornrows, I'm popping. Bent 2 knots, I'm popping. Wash your hair and do you a little wash and go or something. Embrace who you are. Embrace who you are. Embrace who you are. Like, and that's all I'm gonna say.